introduce myself here. I'm James Bobo. Just a little brief summary about me. Also, my director of operations, Skylar Wells. I thought he was calling in. I'm not sure if he made it or not. And, Mr. Alexander, you might be able to see if he's on the line or not.
Not yet.
Definitely, okay.
And I mean, if you gave
Definitely want
him,
him to chat in because he's been with me close to day one, and we're like Batman and Robin, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. We don't go nowhere without each other. So, but just a little bit about myself. I'm married. I have me and my wife. We are actually celebrating our 30th wedding anniversary this July. It's been together for 36 years. We have 6 adult kids. As I was telling Miss Alexander, we have 17 grandkids and one on the way in July. Um, Ex-military. I work at BMW Manufacturing Company in Spartanburg, South Carolina. I'm in the maintenance, safety, engineering department. Basically, I work about 50 hours a week, 55 hours a week, depending on what projects are coming and going. And the reason why I'm giving y'all this information is that I have a business that's full-time. One of the most important things I should have started out with is that I'm a Christian. When I went to a job several years ago where I was off every weekend, my pastor said, I got you now. My background is in finances, so I'm the treasurer of the church and also a trustee. So I have a full plate. And we're not letting our full plate stop us from this opportunity. It all depends on what you truly want out of life, whether you'll make the time for it and make the sacrifice for it. And we want to make sure that people that work with us, that you're not spinning your wheel, that you're not sitting there just doing something that's not efficient work when you're spending time away from your family. And this is an opportunity that can help you with a lot of things that you're looking for in life. And if there's a question as I'm going through this presentation, if you have it, Ms. Alexander, she said, raise your hand, stop, ask, because usually I keep my presentations open right now for small. We go to our international presentations next week, then of course we're going to have to change a little bit. But definitely right now, if anybody has any questions, comments, or anything, I want to make sure that we answer those to make sure that we're on the same page.
well,
So,
Skylar is on and unmuted.
Skylar, Mr. Wells, you want to quickly introduce yourself here, sir? I don't know if you heard me, but as I mentioned to him, I said we're Batman, Robin, Jordan, Pippen. So I'm Jordan and I'm Batman. So I'm gonna let you be this other half.
Brother, I thought we were Batman and Batman, but that's cool.
All right.
Yeah, I'm Skylar Wells. I'm here in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm the Director of Operations for King Phoenix. And James and I, we've been, and I apologize. When I thought it was a go-to meeting, I hadn't done that here recently, especially on this computer, so I should have known it'd take me some time. But I am here now. But James and I, we've known each other for several years, quite a few years. And when a mutual friend introduced us and said that James, he had a program, he had a vision of multiple streams of residual income. And I didn't even know him. I'm like, brother, I'm in. And we've been on this journey, and this is it. This is it. And we're trying to bring everyone that we know and have known here. And of course, those people have people that we don't know. And so this is going to be one of the greatest opportunities that a lot of us have seen. And we're starting at the ground floor, and that's what we've always wanted. So it's a pleasure to meet everyone, and I'm glad that you're here.
Now, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the presentation, and I want to go through a brief training to kind of, since I have y'all here, and I'm not going to be long. I'm going to go through the presentation kind of quickly because that's kind of nuts and bolts and foundation. I really want to get to the training so you can really see the opportunity that you really have at hand. And even beyond that, as I was talking to Ms. Alexander earlier, that's first level. There's a couple more levels that me, her, and Scott were talking about that it's kind of like when I have grandkids. I can't take my 12-year-old grandson and teach him calculus 4 right now. He'll look at me like I'm crazy. I got to start him out with basic algebra and then take him to trig and then pre-calculus. I got to step him up. I just can't start calculus in his lap day one. And so we're gonna work with y'all. And Ms. Alexander from here is already doing a great job. But to get started here, Team Phoenix Transformation LLC is free to join as a business portfolio, and our motto is we show people how to make multiple streams of multiple paychecks of additional income out of profit and not out of pocket. We basically show you out of the first opportunity how to take some of those funds and get involved in other businesses out of your profit, so you're not going back out of your pocket. And so one of the things that I like to get cleared up here, one, is that this presentation is not a training session. It's an overview. And at the end of this overview, our goal is that you see what it takes to start, and you see the potential income that you can make, and you say, that's what I need for me and my family. Okay? One of the other things I like to point out here is that, you know, when people get hired on a job, they basically get hired and they do what they call on-the-job training. I don't care if you've been an engineering company or like I've been in maintenance engineering for 30 years at BMW. If I go to Volvo, Mercedes, or another company, I'm going to have to learn their process. I'm not going to know everything 100% day one out the gate. And so, but nobody goes into a job and say, don't pay me until I know everything. They said, no. I can earn and learn at the same time. I'm knowledgeable enough. Well, why do people, and this is a rhetorical question, why do people want to turn around and say when they go into a business, they want to know everything before they start? It's the same process on the job should be the same process on the business, earn and learn at the same time. So don't expect that you're going to know everything before you put your name online. You do need to trust the person that invited you there, period, and then move forward from that point. So with that said, we will continue here. One of the things that we look at when we talk about Team Phoenix, this is something for every walk of life. I don't care whether you're black, white, pink, purple, whether you're 25, 18, or 55 and seasoned. And we don't have any old people. There's nobody but Methuselah on this call, okay? So this is for everybody. And I don't care who you are. Every majority of people, I won't say everybody, majority of people have a why or something that they need. And please forgive me. For the last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been talking so much, my voice has been going in and out, so bear with me, everybody. But the one thing about it, the majority of people have a why or something that they need. And a sample of some of those whys is that we like to make extra funds to help family members out, to retire early. Skylar, he's retired military, likes to play golf, and golf is not a cheap hobby. You know, healthcare insurance. I don't know anybody that don't need a good healthcare plan. Or you like to donate to charity, or have who wouldn't want to be debt free, or leave a legacy to your kids or grandkids, or have a trust fund, or set up a nonprofit. And this is just a sample of some of the whys. This is nowhere near a complete list. And we show these here because this is the most hits that most people mention when we talk to them. But the one thing about it is that Team Phoenix does not want to be teach you how to be professional at what we're doing. We're simply looking to be a financial train to help you get you where you're going to. Okay. Now, the one thing about Team Phoenix, we're similar to a 401k. Now, as an example, years ago before a 401k came into existence, people used to invest in the stock of a company, and if the stock was a success, bam, they retired very wealthy or enough that they could live comfortably. If it was a failure, and I have a close friend that his mother, they bought out her company a year before they retired. She's been working it 29 years, and she didn't get anything. Okay, so now she's having to depend on family members in her retirement, and that was at 64, and she is in her late 80s or early 90s now. So can you imagine working all your life, and then all of a sudden, somewhere high up in the management, they buy the company, and you no longer have anything for it. So here comes along a 401k, and a 401k is made up of multiple businesses for diversity. And the reason for that is basically if anything happened in any one business, you don't lose everything. You have other streams of income inside that 401k to help you towards your retirement. And each one of these businesses have a product and service that they have because that's the nature of their business. But the majority of people that look at their 401k, they're looking at the profit side of it. They're not worried about the product and services that those businesses are producing. They're worried about, am I making enough for retirement? Where Team Phoenix has a similar philosophy. Our goal is to make enough money for the things that we want to do. We get involved in multiple businesses so that we can have an opportunity to do the things that we want to do. Every business that we get involved in has a product or a service. But whether you use that product or service or not is your choice. To give you a good example, there's a cable company that I won't name it by off name, but they have a commercial on TV. They say refer a friend and you get $10 off your bill and they get $10 off their bill. But let's say Skylar refers me and I get $10 off my bill and the base bill is $100. And Skylar, he has grandkids and kids, and let's say that they binge watch all the month of May on TV, 24 hours, 7 days a week. And I got sent to Germany and my TV was off. Well, I'm not going to disconnect my household bills or the lights and TV and everything for 1 month because it costs more money. So my TV is sitting there not being used. When I get back, guess what? I still have my basic bill. I was paying to have access to the service, okay? Where we work at, and this is an example here, this is a fictitious chart here with name of businesses. In the membership side, we get compensated off the membership side, not the services. There are some companies we work with that you can sell the product and service for an extra paycheck, but that's like the nickel over here compared to over here is $10. We want to work with the $10. Now, if you have some product and service that you just gung-ho about, I got a good friend that actually introduced me and Skylar. He is crazy about internet products and services. He may dig into that because that's his passion. That's fine. I got another friend in Anderson, South Carolina. He's a workout fanatic. He may dig into the health products because that's him. But over here, this is not where your money's going to be made at. Your money's going to be made off the membership, and which are your customers, and building that. And basically, we get involved, as I mentioned, in multiple businesses. So if something happened to one, we still have other multiple streams coming in to where we don't have to go out and start over again. Now, the one thing about it, any business needs customers, and those of us that's that's Anonymous Alexander that knows how to do marketing, that have to rely on our warm marketing. We rely on our warm marketing for family members, co-workers, neighbors, church members. And the one thing about it, I don't care how big your warm market is, sooner or later, your warm market is going to be gone. And that's where if you don't have the skills like Ms. Alexander and some other people to where you know how to do advertising, you no longer can keep your income up. And that's where, and think about this, how many times you know people that were selling you something 1 year, and then a couple years later they come back with a different product, and then 2-3 years later they come back with something else. The only thing that happened with them is that the first product they ran out of people to go to, they didn't know how to advertise to create new customers, so they went and they got this crumb with what they were doing, so they found another good product that they could sell, and being the family member friend, you're like, well, I can use that, I'll help you out with that. But every couple of years, they're coming back to you with something else. We're going to break that into the cycle here. We found that we didn't create it, it's out there. We found a system to help you create numerous of customers on a regular basis as long as you're doing your part helping your team. Okay, and it's called the 2-up reverse. Now, the way this 2-up reverse, and this is just a small example, is that you recruit 3 people in this example, Adam, Bob, and Charlie. And your first 2 people, Adam and Bob, roll up to your sponsor, and they're going to follow him or her in anything that they're doing from this point forward. Charlie stays direct to you, and from that point on, anybody stays direct to you that you recruit on a normal basis. Now, the one thing about it, even though Adam and Bob roll up to your sponsor, it is still your responsibility to help them move forward just like you helped Charlie. Now, the one thing about it, because you have a direct relationship with them and you brought them in, the sponsor that they roll up to them may or may not know them, depending on what level they're at. Now, let's look at Charlie, how his recruiting works, but this works the same with everybody that comes in. Now, Charlie turns around here, and he brings in his first 3 people. His first 2 people are going to roll up to you. And these are customers that we call team members. These first 2 people here, basically, now you have 3 on your team. These first 2 people are going to go out and duplicate the process, and their first 2 people, which is 4, are going to roll up to you. Now you have 4 new customers. Now you have 7 on your team. And as you can see, as that process continues, 15, 31, 63, now giving up 2 people don't seem so bad. Nothing's 100% positive, but you got to be able to show where the good outweighs the negative portion of it, okay? And when you start looking at your direct with your help building your team and supporting them, that it can go deep, and you only had to recruit 3 people in this example, and you passed it up 2, which are still helping them, because if you were down here and passed and you received 2 people down here, that sponsor up here is not going to have a clue who these people are. So this is how, by everybody working together and help your team build teams, you can have your customers build on a regular basis with with only a handful of people. And guess what? When you bring on the fourth person, the numbers double. This list just increases. A fifth person, you get a whole other set of these numbers. So, and the thing that I tell people, don't feel so wide that you can't help people. I remember years ago having a sponsor that every time he picked up the phone, what do you need, what do you need, what do you need? And he would give you a second to talk. If you can't talk to the sponsor that brought you in and get assistance, you need to back up how many people. The realm of responsibility usually is anywhere between 4 to 7 people as far as managing a group. So when you're looking at this here, keep your group to 4 to 7 people, get them where they need to be at. And if you want to have a bigger team, go get another 4 to 7. Because it's hard to manage that many people, especially if you have a full-time job or in school or a combination of both and or a family along with that. Now the one thing about this is that, excuse me one second. Now the one thing about that, a question that comes up here is that with all these people that are coming in, they say, well, how are they going to know how to go into my different business? Well, Team Phoenix not only has the 2-Up Reverse program, which is a program that's free, and the website is free. We have a system that's called Program List Page. And on this Program List Page, once you join the platform or business, you basically put your link inside the space that's provided, and it updates the web link. And so anybody that signs up to you directly after the third person, when they click on their link in their back office, they automatically go to your website. So you get financial credit. Any roll-ups that you get automatically go to your website, so you get financial credit. So all that is automated. You don't have to worry about passing out your link to whether we got 2 businesses, 5 businesses, or 20 businesses. It's all automated, and that's great. Those are 2 of the greatest features that Team Phoenix has. It's not all of them. Okay, so the first opportunity that we get involved with. Before I go any further, are there any questions about any of this? Do you see any hands this Alexander?
There are no hands right now, but if you have a question, put your hand up now, and I will unmute you. Nope, you were very clear. So let's keep going.
So basically, our first platform to get started out with, the one thing that me and Skylar looked at doing is we wanted to get a business, an opportunity that anybody can get into, not the rich, not somebody that has money. Another little quick story, I was getting involved in a little business group several years ago, and I was on a conference call, and one of the guys made a comment. He said, well, if they can't afford to do it, they don't deserve it. And I got very irritated. I spoke my mind. I'm ex-military. I'm a Christian, and I had to stop myself from going back to that Christian military way, because I was like, look, I'm not even dealing with you guys. And I explained to him why. Because somebody in a position where they can't afford something at the time because of their financial responsibility don't mean they don't deserve it. And so my relationship with that group ended that night. Okay, so the thing is that we wanted something that could be for everybody, not somebody who just has money, not somebody that's arrogant or whatever, for everybody. Okay, so the one thing about it is that CrowdRising basically was the first opportunity that we found that was low enough that a lot of people could get involved, or if I've got a cousin, a brother, sister, good friend that wanted to move forward, and they say, I just don't have it, and I earnestly knew that they were going to work, and I knew that they just didn't have it, I could support them. Okay, it's not like it's $500 or $5,000. Okay, so at this point here, CrowdRising is basically a crowdfunding platform, and many of you probably heard of GoFundMe or Indiegogo. And to give an example of how this works, let's say the automobile industry has many different car manufacturers. You got BMW, Volvo, Mercedes, Ford, Chevrolet. Well, crowdfunding is a platform, and up under crowdfunding, you have GoFundMe, you have Indiegogo and CrowdRising, and several hundred others. These are just some of the major ones. Now, the one thing about it as well is that when we look at GoFundMe, you can have as many accounts as you want, and just like GoFundMe, people get their account and they advertise it. Well, the people that they advertise it to is their warm market. And what they don't tell you is that many people that have a GoFundMe account don't reach their financial goals because, once again, they don't know how to advertise, pass it out to other people. Okay? So the one thing about it is that basically um, when we turn around and we look, Crowd Rising has a 3 by 10 structure. And this 3 by 10 structure, a lot of people look at it and they say, well, is that a pyramid? And I'm going to stop here and review this because I like things that I know that people are going to hit hard with to discourage them. I want to make sure I give them ammunition to fight back. When we started talking about pyramid real quick, like I mentioned, I work out at BMW. I've been out there for 23 years, and I've seen it grow from 500 people to 15,000 people, 1 million to 11 million square feet. Now, the one thing about it is that right now there's about 12,000 people that work 24 hours, 7 days a week on the floor. Probably has 1,000 direct supervisors, 500 managers, probably about 50 assistant department managers, 10 managers, 10 department managers, 5 VPs, and 1 president. Now, a lot of people say that's a business structure, but if you think about it, it surely sounds like a pyramid. So it depends on your mindset. The one thing about a 3 by 10 matrix or any matrix, period, it is designed that based upon your work of what you do, you can move forward regardless of who came in before you or after you. It's based upon the work that you do. Okay? So when we look at a 3 by 10 matrix here, this here in Crowd Rising has what we call tiers 1 through 10. And tier 1, you can only have 3 people direct to you, period. And the second tier, these 3 people are going to bring 3 in, and they're going to have 9 on tier 2. Now, and as you can see, as it continues, it goes 27, 81, etc. Well, the one thing about it is that, let's say, for example, that, person 1, like Miss Alexander, she brings in 10 people. Well, even if she brings in 10 people, she still can only physically have 3 people direct to her on tier 1. The rest of them going to spill over to the next available position on tier 2. Okay? And that's called spillover. Now, I have mixed feelings about this. It's good and bad depending on how you use it. There are people that in previous organizations and even this platform here that signed up and say, I'm going to wait till I get spillover. And basically, what that's saying is that I'm going to sign up and wait for somebody else to do the work, to put people up under my position so that I can get paid. Now, I'm ex-military old school, and somebody that's saying I'm straightforward, I'm holding my hand out for a double check because I want somebody else to do the work for me. It's fine if you get it because it just happened, but for you to sign up just to wait for it, that's different. There's a way that we're going to show you how, which we're going to go into it very briefly, how to have multiple accounts, and you can do that the correct way. Now, the one thing about it is we look at this 3 by 10, which is basically, when you look at tier 1 through tier 10 and 3, 9, 27, which we've been over already, and the donation amount per level, you can see the potential donation amount where 3 people can potentially donate $20 to you. We give you 60 potential dollars. 9 people on tier 2 will potentially give you 360. But for you to go from tier 1 to tier 2, you have to donate to the next level first, okay, out of what you received already. So once again, they're using the same philosophy that Team Phoenix has already been using for years, out of profit and not out of pocket, but in their case, out of donations and not out of pocket. All right. So the one thing about it also, imagine this here. Imagine if you had multiple platforms like this that you were getting paid on. And that's one of the things that we're going to go into in a few minutes. So one of the things that we look at is that right now, Team Phoenix purchased Crowd Rising on March 22nd, and we actually relaunched on the anniversary date, which is March 2nd, a couple of days behind the date that we expected to. And the one thing about it, in 2 years, Crowd Rising had 305,000 people that signed up. There were so many people doing different things. We tightened up the terms and conditions. We went to one payment process because people didn't kind of know how to pay other people, and people accounts were going delayed and everything. So we said, let's clean some things up that we see are issues. So that's basically what the terms and conditions are meant to do, is to keep the community moving smoothly, keep the donations flowing smoothly. And the one thing about it, since we just purchased Crowd Rising, they're not interlinked together. So you may have down the road, as you have an additional account, you may have somebody sign up to that account straight from the internet. You want to make sure before you approve that donation that they signed up for Team Phoenix first, which is in the new terms and conditions for Crowd Rising. And the one reason why you want to do that, because if you don't, you're doing a disservice to yourself and to the person. Because one, if they're not inside of Team Phoenix, you're giving up the roll-up that you would normally receive. And the person that's just working crowd rising platform, they don't know anything about the additional business they can get involved in out of profit and not pocket. So you're doing a disservice to everybody. So definitely make sure you, because when they sign up, you're going to have their communication information, whether it's telephone, email, or a combination of both. So you want to follow through with that. Before I go, that's pretty much the presentation. And the one thing that I mentioned to a lot of people here is that at this point right here, the one thing that we have to think about is that we're in the, how many times have we made the comment, I wish I could have gotten to that business or that group when they started out when they was on the ground floor. But guess what, ladies and gentlemen? We're not on the ground floor. We're in the basement working our way up to the ground floor. You're here. And the one thing about it, I tell every meeting that I'm going to right now, whether it's physically over the internet, if I got a brother, sister, cousin, or best friend, can you imagine several months down the road or a month or two down the road, I'm making a few $100s and it's increasing exponentially? And they said, well, how did that happen? And I said, oh, I joined such and such. Well, why you didn't tell me about it? I didn't think you want to know anything about it. Oh, that's a fight. I'm mad. For my brother, sister, cousin, not to tell me about an opportunity where they can make that type of potential donation, oh, we got issues now. Okay? I don't care how long we know each other. So think about this. When you get to, if you work in this opportunity and you're making a good bit of income from several opportunities that we're involved with, who's going to be mad at you because you didn't say anything to them? See, the one thing when this all starts transpiring, I called everybody I knew. I went back to some people I hadn't talked to in years and say, look, I hadn't talked to you, but this is what's going on now. You're in a time-sensitive period that if you're going to do it, you need to step up to the plate or not. But the one thing at the end of the day, they won't say that I didn't reach out to them. Okay? So that's my challenge to each one of you is to reach out to your people and get back to Miss Alexander and give her the information so we can get them in before we start putting the rest of the way, because the one thing that we believe in is taking care of family first and loyalty and then pressing forward from there. Any questions before I continue?
Thank you, James. No, there are no questions and there are no hands up in the box right now.
And I'm going to be real brief on this. I know that was about 20 minutes. I think 23, trying to keep track of time. And this here is how to have multiple accounts, and we're sending it out. Excuse me one second. I tend to get a little excited because I haven't been involved with an opportunity like this. This here is how to have multiple accounts, and we show you how to be efficient at what you're doing. Because if you help people be efficient, they're not chasing themselves around trying to do some of the things just to kind of keep their head above water. And I'm not going to read this slide by slide, but basically, want to appreciate everybody for moving forward here. And we're going to show you how to have multiple accounts being efficient at what we're doing. And Ms. Alexander, you give this presentation on, correct?
No, I haven't, but I will.
All right.
They can. I'll send out the PowerPoint.
Okay. And one of the things right now, both the presentations don't have voiceover, but in the next 2 to 3 weeks, because of how much we're having to do to get everything working together, we've been overwhelmed a little bit. We're definitely going to get voiceover, so that way you can kind of get some extra information that you probably wouldn't normally have versus just reading the slides. So, and I'm going to get to some of the important slides because I want to be worthy cautiously all time here. But one of the things is that basically, when we look at the two up reverse, just kind of going off the presentation, and you looked at how Charlie here basically had Adam and Bob that rolled up, and you had Adam and Bob that rolled up, you had Charlie direct, and you start looking at his roll-ups 2, 4, 8, and you had 1, 3, 7, 15 customers/team members. Well, on the back office of Team Phoenix in the program list page, the one thing that you're able to do is actually able to change the program. You can get an additional account and put in your new Crowd Rising ID, and you can have your roll-up go to that versus you having to go recruit people. So by helping your team build deep, you can actually use your roll-ups to create additional accounts. So as an example here, instead of just, like we said, using Miss Alexander's example, instead of just coming in here and saying, okay, here's my 3 people, Charlie, David, and Edward, and then her other people just become spillover. What we're doing, we're saying, okay, Miss Alexander, you're here, but we're going to get her another account here, okay? And now she can put 3 additional people here. This guy here, he's real happy because they helped fill the leg here. He's already down on this other level, okay? And so she can continue to do that as long as she has people that she's bringing in directly after her third person after, or her roll-ups. So imagine this. As you continue to do, and once again, you can just change your list on your program list page. And one way to keep up with this here is basically Gmail and Yahoo gives you the capability of adding a +1 or some symbol that your extra emails that you create will go back to your primary email. So what we decided to do was use the +1 to keep track. So as an example, when you have your second, Adam gets or let's say Miss Alexander has a second account and a third account. So her email that she may have used here was alexander@gmail.com. So the next would be alexander+2@gmail.com, alexander+3@gmail.com. And these +2, +3 can be used for the individual different accounts that you get through CrowdRiser. And when they act as an independent email, and when any information goes to them, such as a different sign-up, a payment process, or something that came in, these emails go back to your main email, so you only have to check one email for no matter how many additional accounts that you have. Okay. So, and the one thing that me and Miss Alexander and Scott were talking about today, you simply get you a spreadsheet to keep track of what your username is that's affiliated with the email address and the links that you have in that. That's a simple process. And so, basically, one thing that there's a slide that's missing on here. I apologize. Here we go. The one thing I want you to think about, I'm kind of short this up for time here. The one thing I want you to think about when I talk to people, nobody I've talked to has one why or one thing that they're looking to raise money for. They have multiple different things that they're trying to raise money for. So why not have multiple accounts that's raising money for those different whys? And you can do it. But it requires you helping instead of you going wide, if your team builds deep. Stability is in building deep. The more people you help get stable, the more diverse you are and the more stable your team is. Okay?
Okay.
And I'm going to end it there because that's pretty much a summation. Your team going deep and helping them out is what it's about here. And the one thing about it, I will say, when you come into Team Phoenix, it's called the Team Phoenix and not the iPhoenix. Your handful of 4 to 7 people that you get into your group, find out what the things are that they want. What are they looking for? I don't make too many promises, but I can almost promise you this. If you help your people achieve their whys, you're going to almost automatically get yours. You cannot get yours if you're not helping them. So if you help them, yours is going to come to you. Ms. Alexander, unless there's any questions, we're good.
Does anyone have any questions about what has transpired up to now? We are good. What I really
I apologize.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize. One of the quick things, 30 seconds and 1 minute or less. One thing I do want to mention is, and I do apologize for that. This here is the first opportunity inside of Team Phoenix. Once you go from here, we have other opportunities that people that in our group right now, that within 30 days you're going to be in a second and third paycheck, and it's a one-time fee of less than $25 to get into the second and third paycheck. Okay, all of our businesses are arranged by financial categories, so we can get people into them as quickly as possible to start those additional paychecks. Okay, now, so the one thing that I want you to think about, even though you have this here coming in, there's other checks from other companies that are going to be coming in. So this was just the start. And we're talking about what this brings to the table. There's some other businesses that make this look small.
Wow.
Now I'm going to be in it on that.
They make this look small? Okay, then they must be huge.
The third business?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So,
I can't
okay.
wait to get to it.
All right.
With our group.
Well, any questions, raise your hand now, and we'll get to it. Okay, Mr. Cross. This is Rufus Cross. Go ahead, Rufus.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say to Mr. Bobo, you're a military man, to Mr. Schuyler, and I like that because I'm ex-military myself. And
What branch, sir?
I was in the Army, sir.
Oh, man. Come on. I was Air Force. But that's fine. You my brother. Yes, sir.
Well, I was Army, 3rd Army Division, 2nd Army Division. I was in telecom, I was in armor, I was in all that stuff. And I did 7 years, so that was enough for me. But I like what you gentlemen have put together. It sounds very good. It sounds well thought out. It sounds solid. And that's what people are looking for these days. I know myself in particular, and of course I work with Ms. Alexander there, and we look for solid things that are real, things that people can believe in, things that people get involved in. They know that it's going to be there, and it's very important, of course, the people behind it. You know, there's a saying, when you go to a horse race, you're not going to bet on a horse. You want to find out who the jockeys are. You want to find out who the jockey is, and that's the one you want to bet on. And so from what I'm hearing from you this evening, you sound like a good jockey. And you sound like...
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. I mean, something that people can really get behind and believe in and go for it. And so I really had just more of a comment than I did have a question. But I do have one question. Now, with the different businesses that you are bringing to the table, are you also open to any suggestion about any business that may be viable for the Team Phoenix company? I'm just curious about that.
Yes, sir. Actually, we look for businesses on a regular basis. Me and Schuyler both have been doing businesses on a part-time basis for 25, 30 years. And so we have a lot of contacts out there that a lot of our friends and family will say, hey, look at this, look at this, look at this. And Schuyler is Director of Operation and Research, and he digs into it, and we look at it, and we beat it up, and we figure it out. And a lot of times if it looks good, we'll spend our money first to go test it out before we bring it to our group. Because if you carry a group left field, it's hard to get their confidence back and get them back on the right path. So we do look at things, test it out, and evaluate it, and then we like to know who's been in it, who's getting paid that we actually know, not that, yeah, I heard Sam get paid over there. No, I want to know that my best friend Terry gets paid. I can call him up and say, how did you do last month? Those are the things that we look at.